Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
How you doing, Chemda? Don't say good or you're going to be a piece of shit. We're at war, people. Hello. I saw a tweet from Abby Crutchfield. It said, champagne for my real friends, U.S. sanctions for my Belarus and Russia. And she's right. She's absolutely right. Okay. First of all, Chemda still in Spain. Of course, one more week until she's back in boring old New York. Did it go fast for you? It seemed like it went fast for me.
It did, but I think it went not fast or slow because we're still tied to the work and the regular schedule as much as possible. So yeah, it's like such a good amount of time to go to another country, another place, and actually live there, because you need the 3 days that you're normally on vacation to find the right supermarket, to settle in, to go to a regular coffee shop, not what's considered the best one, the one you need to go to. There's a lot of pressure in that. So working from a different location allows you to like really see the place in your time while you work. And it's forcing us to go outside too. I would get a little lazy in New York in the winter, so I'm out more. It's nice. What was your question? That answers it, right?
It's Friday night in Spain. What do you guys do? Big nap off tonight? What do people do for fun?
This siesta, I know we've said it before, but let me just make clear. It's 3.5 hours in the middle of the day. And some people don't reopen. We just went out right before the show because it's like just at the tail end of siesta time. Nothing was open.
Right.
Nobody takes turns working. We're all working or none of us are working. It's a real united front.
Well, we're going to talk to our buddy Hollywood Craig Klein today. And he's been following what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine. And, you know, he's a man about town. So if there's anything you're missing, he's going to catch us up. But first, let me mention this while we're still all alive. We just did silent trailers. Oh, my God. That was war. That was an invasion. That was genocide. I mean, I don't know what you can say now in today's climate. But you know how many points I won by? 101. I won silent trailers by 101 point. Why did they even fuck with the kid?
You know what? I know that, you know, you're boasting a lot right now. And during the show, whoever's losing is actually bummed. Like people start getting angry with each other. So yeah, people are there to play and we're all friends and they're comedians and they're telling jokes about the way you dress. Absolutely. But then they're like, they get like way into it because they got to catch up on points and stuff, but they did not catch up.
Nobody is better than giving it your all into this game. I'll tell you that. And they do. The next silent trailers will be Wednesday, March 23rd. Wednesday, March 23rd, assuming the world hasn't ended. Mark your calendars now and we'll update you with more details. Okay. That's it. You got to start your day like it's a regular day, no matter what's going on. And I do. Athletic Greens. I started the first thing in the morning. I mean, you have everything. Let's see. You got flu season, right? You got cold season. You got COVID. You have nuclear sunrises. How about you keep your body in tip-top shape? Have your greens right in the morning. And who likes eating that shit, right? Nobody. Even the colors a turn off. But to drink it and get all those nutrients down, that's what we're talking about. That's what Athletic Greens is. It's a powder. I put it in water. I shake it up. I drink it. And it's fantastic. And I did a favor to my immune system. Right now, reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. One scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. You don't need a million different pills, a billion different supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Here's what you do. athleticgreens.com/KATG. That's it. athleticgreens.com/KATG. Take ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. In fact, I saw somebody on our forums. Shubuti says, hey, I'm interested in these Athletic Greens. What do they taste like? I want to try. And I said, you know what? I give the taste with water an 8.5. No filler and not bad at all. That said, it tastes green. And she said, I like how green tastes better than purple. So here we go. Boom. That feels good. All right. Today's guest.
And by the way, look at the amount of energy you have. You're almost 50, we can say.
Yes.
So every time Keith gets heated and wound up and just a little energetic, that might be the greens, the athletic greens.
People are like, oh, looks like Keith ate his spinach today. I'm like, hey, joke's on you. Today's guest, he's been featured on Keith and the Girl throughout the years, of course. If you have VIP, perhaps you heard his 3-parter on My Name is Keith. Wow, he's a diamond dog, for Christ's sakes, as well. Craig Klein, how you doing, Craig?
You know, I think that's an unfair question in times like
this. Craig, we already caught you laughing. Okay. All right.
It was a nervous laughter. Because when you said that Keith was almost 50, it made me feel like I'm almost 50, and then I was like, oh shit, this is terrible. But the green's making you look good, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, this is big news going on in the world today. If you hear me laughing during the show, it's actually like a little clip I'm playing from earlier.
Yeah, and actually, the only kind of, like, if you're a deep person, you're only laughing a nervous laugh. Okay. So we know that everyone's a good person and we're allowed to laugh, but only if we apologize or if we understand that it's nervous.
Well, speaking of the world, it is funny seeing people's reactions to Trey Gallion when he was a guest this week and his Tennessee flag behind him, which, how would I know the Tennessee flag? I'm like, what kind of white power bullshit is? I know he's a good guy. I know it's not really, but I'm like, if it had an eagle on it, kill yourself. I mean, it is the Confederate flag. It's 3 of the stars from the Confederate flag, the circle, the colors. That's what it is, and he doesn't seem to understand it. Rod wrote, I'm glad Trey isn't racist, but buying that flag without being a racist feels like a waste of that flag. Good point.
So
it really does. And the flag's not for you. Right.
Rod's good. Rod's real good.
Yeah.
The Tickler writes on our forums, the Tennessee flag isn't racist. The former Mississippi flag literally had the stars and bars in the upper left-hand corner. Right, and that was racist till about 2 or 3 years ago. It had stars and bars on it. Yes, that was bad news.
Also, what are we competing? If it's not as bad as the Confederate flag, it gets to hang. Right. I also don't. What are you? Again, it's interesting that when I said, should I put the Iranian flag? He goes, no, your flag has a bad history. And I'm like, I don't.
I think that what you're trying to say, Keith, because it's not that any image on a flag is inherently racist. The Tennessee flag certainly does not represent racism, right? But I think that the point you're making, and you're totally right to, but then it applies to every motherfucking flag that you're hanging behind you, is what are you hanging a flag for? What is this entity that you are co-signing the entirety of? Why? What do you have personal pride in? And this goes a long way, I think, into what's going on. I didn't even mean to make a segue. It goes on to what's going on in the world abound. But yeah, when you're hanging a flag, when you've got national pride or state pride, you're definitely co-signing on terrible things.
I won't even have a flag. I won't even have a flag behind me that says comedy. I can vouch for all that shit.
Louis C.K.
Yeah. The tickler continues that he was born in Brooklyn. He now lives in Tennessee, so he is the inside scoop. The stars in the Tennessee flag represent the 3 parts of the state: East, Middle, and West Tennessee. Oh yes, the 3 parts of a state. What the? The 3 parts of every state: East, Middle, and West. Well, they celebrate that. They just don't live in it like us New Yorkers in 3 parts of our state. They really appreciate each part together and separately. All right. Well, good for him. And congrats to everybody with your flag. Sure. I love wondering. All right.
I also think it's funny because the people who usually wave a flag are in the place that they are. And I always think, like, are you just forgetting? Like when you go down, let's say Queens, Brooklyn, and there are certain blocks that will just have American flags waving. And I'm like, do you just wake up and forget and need to, like, we all know we're here. I don't understand what this message is.
It's
coming down the street in the US and I need a flag.
It's weird pride. It's weird pride. And I'll tell you, and I don't know if you've experienced this at all in Spain, but well, and obviously Germany's a lot different. And this is a great segue into the bigger world issue. But you wouldn't see.
I have a feeling everything is going to be a good segue.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. You wouldn't see German flags in fucking post offices or government buildings. They're just not even like on a window of an office. It just didn't exist. And I had a neighbor that was on the top floor and they were hanging a German flag for some reason. And it wasn't like a World Cup. That's the only time that you'll see it, is that like a World Cup game is on. And I was sitting in my window and just a totally stranger couple to the neighborhood, just walking along the canal. They pulled up on it and they stopped and they're discussing about it. And they start screaming up at the open window. And they ask the person in German, "What are you trying to prove? Are you a fascist?" And it was like I'm asking you right now, like, what are you trying to prove? What is the deal? What's going on with you? And then it was like, German pride. And it's like, well, what do you have pride in? What did you do? And that was just left as a question like that. And eventually she took down the flag. It's just a very interesting thing.
What if she makes the best schnitzel? You gotta wave a flag for that.
Good point.
Chicken cutlets, they're very simple, but when you get them good, the whole town wants to visit.
Yesterday, it was me and Craig. We were playing the game Destiny. We blow these aliens right off the planet. Right off the planet. Yeah. And but we started talking about this, and Craig has been studying it, so I thought it'd be very interesting to talk to. Russia, of course, invaded Ukraine 5:50 in the morning the other day. And Craig brought up a great point. Like, at least do it before I start driving into work. So I appreciate that. Right? At 9/11, those guys were assholes. That's like, that happened at about 9:11 a.m. Like, you're a real piece of shit. Come on.
I go into the office. Then I got to figure out a way to get home after war has started. You know what I mean? Right. Couldn't you have called ahead of time?
And okay, we're going to get into it, but just between us. Okay. Does anybody kind of want to see a World War III? Because it's exciting.
No, Keith, don't.
No, of course not. No, don't say no, Keith. I'm asking for other people. No, of course. No. I mean, fucking, again, 9/11, disgusting. Really woke up my eyes to war. No, thank you. Not interested. Everybody's our family one way or another. No, thanks.
Okay. But my point is, do you remember when Trump was a joke that it could be that he's president and everyone's like, he's the president we deserve. Wouldn't it be hilarious? Hey, comedians, you're going to have so much more to say. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
Well, Keith, I can't vote on it.
When fucking Miss America and Miss Universe happens, they go, what would you like the most? It's not World War III. It's peace on earth. Come on, study your lines. What is wrong with you?
I just asked, you can't, at this climate, you can't even ask the questions. I don't feel that way. I want peace. I want brunch 24 hours a day. I guess you'd have to change the name. But this is, of course, disgusting to even put those words together. I'm sure that can even happen. I'm just saying, you live in a world where 50% of people in America are okay with Nazis walking the street. 50% are retarded about the vaccine. 50% still say that word. It's disgusting. 50%. You just had Florida just passed. Florida just passed the don't say gay bill. In schools, you can't discuss gay issues of any kind. You can't even say you're gay if you're a student. I don't know. I could kind of see running around shooting people and hiding in a box store. I found a Best Buy that I swear nobody knows about.
That rant went a long way. I mean, I feel like we just ran a mile. Athletic Greens, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's energy right there. I don't know, Craig and I are just like, yep, you said that.
What is the reward for? I'm imagining like the what did you feel upon finding a Best Buy that nobody else knows about?
Nobody seems to know about it.
And the people that work there at your beck and call.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But then with war, I take it over, and that's it. And then me and the 3 employees live there. Okay.
Oh, I see. Oh, this is your war plan or
Yes.
apocalypse.
Oh,
And you go to okay. So
When I was a kid, I would think I'd be a
fun.
great homeless person because I found the perfect grates. Well, I'm an adult now. I'm almost 50. I found the store I would live in.
Okay. This is because we discussed if Keith would be good or bad during like the end of the world. And he decided he was good because he has this plan, find a big store before everybody else. Now he found a Best Buy that nobody else knows about. He's ready for anything to happen.
Yeah.
So he's prepared.
I won't like it.
Water.
But if the whole world has to do it, no, not the cancer and nuclear war, sure, but that's a bummer. But other than that, if we're all going through it, it's, it's like, oh, Keith, you never wrote that book. Yeah, nobody did. Don't worry about it.
You know what else is funny about this is all of these people in the world that really like to plan for the apocalypse. What about your apathetic life while there's people around? Like, what makes you so enthused to be gung-ho about existence after? Like, take me out with the explosion. What the fuck do I want to work harder for?
And I don't mind dying if everybody's dying. Okay, yeah, take me out too. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's no way to lose with this. But
again, with the pandemic, we discovered it's not as fun when everyone goes through it at the same time. However, I still believe Keith. I still believe him because when big shit like pandemic happens, he goes, okay, so I log on to here and that's how we do it. And it's just next.
Mm-hmm.
He is the most living in the now. He is what we strive for. And that's why he's so confused when people are like, hey, live in the now, because he's there.
Yeah,
he's already, everything's fine.
No shit.
Because what's happening right now? If World War III was happening right now, he would still be in his day. And I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Thank you.
You're right.
But it still feels so uncomfortable coming out of his face because it's just, I don't know if it's the Flintstone looking. I don't know. If it's the accent, I don't want to be, but it's almost, it's like, isn't he supposed to earn his nowness? No, it just right there. It's so interesting. And it's like, isn't the nowness supposed to come with some like serene shit? No, it comes with Keith energy. That's what's confusing. Usually we see the guru with the long beard and it's like, he meditated his ways into not giving a fuck. Keith was like, you can't be worse than my dad. You absolutely can't. There's no bigger subject on this show, and World War III is not going to be bigger. My dad broke me down. It was military grade beat down. And I'm not talking just physical, just my whole, everything. And if everything could be fine from there, he's good.
I want to know what Putin can do to me.
There we go.
It's a really good point.
Oh my God. Well, I guess we know now what to do after all the years we played Risk, right? Ukraine is important in that game, right? That's the fucking key. So Ukraine we do have to step in.
That's the famous line. Ukraine is weak.
But I've heard that Putin is actually great at Risk. That's what sources are saying. So he knows what he's doing too. Risk in the future is going to be sad as fuck, right? If we ever play that game again, like, oh, that was a sad in 2022. Oh, that was sad in 2035. I think this one's on fire, So Craig, you have been reading up on what's going on. I see. Let's see. The Russian leader delivered a televised speech before 6 a.m. local time Thursday and claimed Russia was undertaking, quote, a special military operation to demilitarize Ukraine. Of course, they came in and just started taking over cities, including Chernobyl. Speaking of, is that thing still on? Did they have the power on Chernobyl still?
So they have a lead and concrete dome over the core that's still emanating things and will be for like 100,000 years. And they're quite concerned. They haven't been able to check up on it, obviously, because it's a war zone, but they were definitely shooting high caliber, like 50 caliber rounds, anti-aircraft rounds into Chernobyl to take it over. And it's quite possible that it could have punctured, which means that now Europe is being radiated again.
Is there, based on what you're reading, are we concerned about Kenda being in Spain?
I think it's a concern to be actually anywhere, but I think that Europe
to be living is a concern.
I mean, it is. We're talking about nuclear warfare with an actually unstable guy. I digress. Yes, I think where Spain is, Europe is a union, right? And they have a thing in the NATO agreements, it's Article 5, I believe. And basically it says if one member of NATO is attacked, all members of NATO are attacked, and they all have to come in together. And so imagine if that happens. Imagine the possibility of Putin, who is one of the largest nuclear powers in the world, and they are like, yeah, fuck it, we're going to take Poland too. And then
I just think it's interesting that Keith is like, should we be concerned about him? Because he literally never knows. Like I was told I had a tumor, and he goes, should we be concerned? And I'm like, yeah, you just have to it's, put up the sarcasm. Like, okay, this is not a concern. Most likely, Keith, it's not a concern. What are you going to do? What are you going to concern yourself with? You know what I mean? And this is to your average person listening to us. What are you concerning yourself with when you say you're concerned?
I'm not concerned anymore because I'm looking at the globe right now, and Spain is the furthest away out of all of good Europe. So I think you might be okay. Also, my globe I see still has the USSR, and Ukraine is part of that. What if this guy just has like an old globe and he's like, what this?
Yeah, but here's what
the government should. What am I going to do with 4 COVID tests? Those came in today.
We're not.
How about you update my fucking globe? How about that's a government issue?
We're not talking about a rock fight. You know what I mean? Like your direct relation in space to your opponent doesn't matter. What? But
it's bigger than don't let the globe throw you. It's bigger than 2 inches. Obviously,
well, I'm saying that when you're on the same continent, when you're talking about European and like an attack on one is an attack on all. Let's say that it's easier to hack into the banking system inside of Spain. Spain gets hit, and they hit Spain's economy because it's backing some sort of thing that's going on in Sweden, right? And there are interpersonal.
It's not. You're right. It's not hard. I saw the heist. They got in there and they were kids. A couple of amateurs in there,
They were trying to date as they're scamming the system.
Fully getting pregnant in the middle of the heist.
It's a big heist.
So like what I'm saying right now is that, and to answer your question, what are you going to concern yourself with? What are you going to do? And this might sound crazy or apocalyptic, but it's probably not a bad idea to pull out a little bit of cash and tape it underneath a drawer someplace, because we live in a war theater now where they attack the banking systems go down, or your account just comes up zero. They did it in Ukraine 2 days ago. They shut down the banking system. They shut down the internet to everybody. The only reason why they let it back up, which is so weird that they're restraining, but they don't want like a full-on revolt by the Ukrainian people because they don't have Wi-Fi. Like, wait, there's a war going on, but I can't get YouTube. So
you know what? You're right, because I also saw Mr. Robot, and when I say, what are you going to concern yourself with? Actually, okay, that is, I will accept that. That's something to think about. And I like that you sincerely answer that question, because I think we should all sincerely answer that question. If we're saying I'm concerned, we should finish the sentence. Just at least decide what you're concerned with.
Absolutely. And it was actually when you said that, it made me redirect my thoughts, because that is something. And I think the other thing specifically right now is never forget, right? Like the old cliche from World War II. We're in this moment. We have been in this moment since, I would say, Donald Trump, right? We've been in this moment. We are seeing it happen in real time. Let's not forget what happened today, right? You've got all of the facts laid out in front of you. You can collect all the information that you might have excuses to not have 40 years from now. Get on that shit and pay attention to what's going on, because it's happening again. It's really happening again right before our eyes. Exactly like how it happened last time.
Is Trump going to run again? He just praised Putin. He praised Putin and called Biden weak, as if any of these words make sense, putting them together. Biden's weak, but he's also on Putin's side. This is like when my stepkids just say shit and hope something takes. Like, what are you saying? He said that Russia invaded Ukraine because the election in America was rigged. Of course, that makes no sense, but he just says it.
But it's a weapon. That is a giant bomb, because it's Americans now are like, well, if Trump's with Putin, I'm with Putin, right? So that's bad and hurtful for me, because, God, we're getting stupider and stupider at the moment. But here's the real problem, is that that's being played on a fucking loop all over Russia. That's being played on a loop all over Ukraine. And all of these people that have very specific channels of media that are controlled by the people who want them to see, what they're seeing is America supports us. America has abandoned us. Right. And again, this is exactly how it happened less than 100 years ago.
Right. And to insult to injury, Trump keeps calling it the Ukraine, deliberate, like a real hard accent on the. It's too much. No, of course, I don't want war. I'm being a little silly. But I saw this on The View, and tell me, is The View just like a collection of mentally challenged people giving their take on the news? Because it's something I always wanted to see, and then they didn't tell me, and I'm like, I'm pissed off. I'm like, how stupid is this? How stupid? If you just told me, like, IQ-wise, it totals 3, then I'd be like, oh, I'm going to watch it every day. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Sherry Shepherd doesn't know if the earth is flat around because she has to take care of her kids and she's very busy. Whoopi Goldberg knows that Hollywood rape isn't rape and that the Holocaust wasn't about race. Now we got Joy Behar. This is Sunny Houston. She's a newer host to me. She starts talking, then Joy Behar will give her 2 cents.
Estimates are 50,000 Ukrainians will be dead or wounded, and that this is going to start a humanitarian crisis, a refugee crisis in Europe. We're talking about 5 million people that are going to be displaced. I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear what is going to happen.
Well, I'm scared of what's going to happen in Western Europe too. You plan a trip, you want to go there. I want to go to Italy for 4 years. I haven't been able to make it because of the pandemic. And now this, it's like, what's going to happen there?
Okay. What is going on? So that's why I'm looking at it from now on. It's actually really, really dumb people, and they're going to say stuff and you're going to enjoy it.
No, but I think that is the answer. Like, what are you concerned with? And when you really answer that, you're really just concerned for yourself. You're concerned or you're fictionally concerned for these other people But
Joy Behar wasn't. She's like, okay, that's terrible. But I'm concerned too. You talk about
I tend to give people a hell of a lot more credit than you do. You know what?
I'm not saying burn her at the stake. I'm saying cancel her for 15 minutes. Literally put her in the corner on The View, and we come back at 16 minutes. She's allowed to stand up and continue. That's all I'm saying.
But honestly, do you think that was her only concern, or she was adding on? Do I think that Joy Behar is not feeling the pain of the world right now?
I think what Keith is saying is that it's tone deaf. That's all it is. It's tone deaf. It's not so egregious that there needs like a huge punishment or whatever, but it is, hey, here's a tone deaf clip from someone who I think is usually very intelligent, and this doesn't take away her intelligence, but she had a tone deaf moment.
Your work partner is
Whoopi Goldberg was a tone deaf moment.
Your co-host is ready to bawl her eyes out about the displacement and deaths, and then you go, yeah, I mean, I care too. Well, we know you care. Let me explain why. I was going to vacation in Italy. How is that even close to these motherfuckers? Oh, we're taking a commercial break again. We have a lot of commercials here. Okay.
I like The View.
Yeah, I do now. Now the new way of looking at it, I love The View.
I like The View.
Yeah. No, Keith, you reacted wrong. Craig is trying to poke you. I love it. Craig just goes, I love The View. We got to say,
I'm really not trying to poke him. I think Whoopi Goldberg is a national treasure. I've been a fan of hers my whole life. I felt zero shame for her with what she said. I got what she was saying. It was a misspeak on television, sure, but like I mean, it's fucking asinine where we're at in the world today.
Can you just say Roman Polanski didn't rape? And everybody, you gotta make a big fucking deal
about
it. Come on, you misspoke. You misspoke. I don't even know what words are going to come out of my mouth next, but let me in charge of the group. Oh my God.
I should have taken it. Yeah, okay.
You guys are you. I always say this, but you're like an old couple because you don't know that you trigger each other.
You know, first it's 50 years old, now it's old couple. Easy.
That is true.
Did you know? This is how I'll speak for myself. This is how I find out about the world through war. And did you know that Ukraine's president was a comedian on TV?
Yeah.
And, I didn't see any of his work of Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Have you seen any of his work? Apparently he played the piano on his show for 5 minutes with his penis. So
he was like a Jon Stewart of
playing piano with your penis.
Well, they did bits. Yeah, I don't think that he was actually like consider what that would have been on television.
I don't want to say it out of context. You're right. I didn't see the show.
Steve Martin shot himself in the head with a bow and arrow. Whoa!
Let's see. 44 years old. He won in a landslide. The show was called Servant of the People. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Can we admit
and he's Jewish.
And he's Jewish. All right. Good.
And he's Jewish. And what's important about this is that Putin's excuse for the insane speech that he gave, literally as soon as he finished the speech, that's when the bomb started to hit in Ukraine. So it was like perfectly timed, and it was a crazy ramble. But what his excuse was that Ukraine is being run by a neo-Nazi who wants to start spreading Nazism across Europe again and bring it into Russia, right? So he's calling a Jewish president, comedian, right? Like pretty liberal, progressive dude in Europe. And he's calling him a neo-Nazi. And the people are eating it up.
You do have to admit that Putin, he still looks good, doesn't he? In America, a president goes in office, they leave 4 or 8 years. The fucking teeth are falling out. Even Barack started cracking, right? But this Putin, this guy is not stressed out one bit by his decisions. Not a gray hair on that head.
The way that he talks to his people, if you've seen any of these like round table, like, when you see a United States president sitting down at a table, they're in a kind of tight room or they're in the Oval Office and they're on couches looking back and forth at each other. You know what I mean? Right. Putin's it's like in a fucking warehouse, and he's literally on a table, on the end of a table that's as long as a bowling alley, and then there's like 6 dudes on the other side of it, right? And he's just like with his hands like an evil empire, right? But the way that I think I sent you a video, the way that he talks to his like head people, he's just like, why don't you just why don't you just say what you mean? Why don't you just say what he's like a mob boss.
I'm saying we shouldn't invade. Well, we're not discussing that now. All right, sit down. Sit down.
Yeah.
In between right. And you know what? Trump does talk like him. Am I right to say that? Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I totally agree. I think that he admires him.
I think he does too.
That's been being said. Hillary Clinton said that. In the original election, he was saying that this guy is like he not only is he doing business in Russia, not only does he have Russian oligarchs backing his presidency, not only is he like for some reason during the debates giving Russia, our largest adversary, a pass, but he idolizes him. He imagines him to be the best leader, and that's the leader that he would be.
Right.
Fucking crazy.
But and Putin, he is somebody to look up to if you're a fucking psychopath, because Putin is very smart. Putin will get smoking hot prostitutes for you to piss on. I mean, you can be like, I'm pissing the Obamas, I'm pissing on their face. Hey, Michelle, you can say whatever you want. And all he asks is in return, nothing. He's going to videotape it for fun, but that's it. That's hard to say no to. That's very clever. So good for, he knows what's doing. I don't know if you saw this, CNN, was showing, hey, this just in, there's air raid sirens ringing out in the Ukraine's capital. And so you hear the sirens. Then they got to go to commercial, but It's one of those commercials that are inside the main show. So on the left, it says Russia invades Ukraine. And then on the right, in a little smaller box, is Applebee's commercial. A little bit of chicken fried. Oh, jeans that feel just right. I mean, you got to pay your bills, I guess. But you didn't need to have your overlay on top of it for one.
It's insane. It's insane. Applebee's will forever now go down in history. You know what I mean? There will be those little vignettes of humor in a disgusting situation. And like Applebee's sponsored the initial bombing of Europe.
Do you think that will hurt them or help them in the long run?
Nobody gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
It's funny to us, but actually, more than 10,000 people in America were like, fuck, you know what? I could go for one of those tall coffee, vodka, and chocolate drinks or whatever.
This morning, missiles struck the capital city of Kyiv. This morning, Ukrainian officials say troops blew up a bridge. Ukrainian troops blew up their own bridge about 30 miles north of Kyiv to stop the advance of Russian forces who have already seized Chernobyl. U.S. intelligence officials are concerned that Kyiv could fall under Russian control within days. I don't see how not. Countries around the world are condemning the attack. Moscow is feeling financial repercussions as Russian stocks crashed and the ruble hit a record low against the U.S. dollar. See, war affects everybody. Yeah.
How scary. When I say, what are you concerned? It's like, this is not what I'm talking about. It's so hard to imagine that one day you're living your life and then all of this stuff happens so quickly.
And then Putin said any intervention by the West will result in consequences never seen by the world before. Now, by the way, that's exactly what Trump said like 2 years ago to Hillary Clinton. But yeah.
How do you not intervene? You got to talk
can't.
About intervening.
That's the thing. We're going to allow Ukraine to fall because we can't intervene. Now, a new border will be drawn, and we have said under no uncertain circumstances, we and the rest of the world, you know what I mean, the Western world, will uphold the European border. Ukraine is just like they were maybe 2 years behind on becoming part of the European Union. So that's the whole thing. Is he's saying I'm going in and I'm going to reset my border and I'm going to put all of my forces along Europe so that you guys don't have an upper hand on me. But if you intervene with the Ukraine situation, all options are on the table.
Of this? Why now? Is there something?
Right. Because some people say that he's gone mad over COVID, like he's been really isolated and
he's usually a social butterfly and less.
Yeah, he kind of was. Like he always had people around him. He was always in posses. He's like out buying ice cream from people at stands.
He fought bears and rode horses naked. He wasn't out and about person.
He's like a celebrity, and he's been really isolated but who knows? I think in 2014 they took over Crimea. And I think that what's been going on is that this president, this very progressive, hip, westernized Ukrainian president, it looks like they're solidly on the path to start getting into Europe. Now, if they were in Europe and he pulled this shit, it's a world war. It's Europe against Russia. The end.
So now,
it's
do
treaty.
Do you guys think that World War III is coming in 2022?
Man, it's really hard to say because I wouldn't have said so. I thought maybe he's going to take over the disputed regions in Ukraine. Now it looks like no way. He's definitely going to Kyiv. And imagine this guy who was a comedian 3 years ago, right?
How good his set's gonna be.
Do you remember what happened with Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi or any of these things that we saw televised or Mussolini? Any of these dictators when they were, or presidents of states, when they were taken over, they were hostage, they were publicly humiliated and then publicly executed. This guy was a comedian 3 years ago. If Kyiv falls, you know what I mean? What do you do to the leader of a nation that you just conquered?
Right.
It actually almost brings me to tears just thinking about what that guy is feeling in his heart right now. And they have stands all over the major cities in Ukraine that if you are a person that's inside of any of these cities, go and pick up a gun. We've got gun depots.
Right. Well, you know, there was that like horrible, but also beautiful. Did you see the video that went around? Bombs are going off and there's a piano in a building. Yeah. And this dude is playing a sweet song with his penis. And you're like, oh, the juxtaposition. Oh yeah.
That was a nervous laugh, everybody.
Boris Johnson, you know, the UK's Boris Johnson. I'm appalled by the horrific events in Ukraine. And I've spoken to the president of Ukraine to discuss next steps. President Putin has chosen a path of bloodshed and destruction by launching this unprovoked attack on Ukraine. The UK and our allies will respond decisively. So, you know, it's good to shake him up a little bit, Putin. I mean,
oof, I think so much damage. Ooh.
It's so, and also here's another thing. UK isn't part of the UN anymore, right? They Brexited.
Oh,
we've got a country. The biggest power against Russia directly is the United States, right? We're idiots right now. We have misinformation that is thrown all over the place and people are buying it. Not only are they buying it, but they're burning down the Capitol over false information that's very easily falsifiable, right?
Well, what's Biden saying right now?
I mean, Biden is saying we're going to give sanctions. We're going to give insane sanctions. And this is something that I've done some research about it. And it,
like, who cares?
It's difficult because what do sanctions do? Sanctions hurt the economy of a state, right? When economy of a state is hurt, it's the people that are hurt. So now Russian people are going to get more angry, more national, right? Because it's like, well, look at what the world is doing to me. Not to this fucking dictator piece of shit, but now we're taking it out on the people of and I don't necessarily have a better solution. It just seems like we're attacking the wrong people. Also, this is very interesting. Putin doesn't have a bank account. He is notably and not on the books because we have no idea what his assets are, but he is the richest person in the entire world. He doesn't have a single bank account because all of his assets are held by oligarchs. So asset like houses in Malibu, boats and, $200 million boats in like Vermont, right? Which he actually just like 2 weeks ago, he took his boat and chartered like a captain, and it was docked in like Santa Monica or like someplace on the East Coast, maybe Miami or something like that, but someplace in America. And this $200 million yacht set sail across Europe so that it couldn't be seized by the Americans. Now he's like hiding it someplace. Mm-hmm. So isn't that interesting? And how do you get at that guy? So part of what Biden is saying is that we're giving like direct sanctions to oligarchs. We're like freezing their international banking accounts. And Europe is trying to decide whether or not we're going to take them off of the SWIFT it's like SWIFT banking. So the entire international banking system, it's all caught up in this like SWIFT program, right? And if they take Russia offline, which they can, then all bank accounts are seized in Russia. No money, no cash machines, no banks, no nothing. Russia's saying we have
chaos.
Yeah, Russia's saying that they have 630 billion in cash that they can back the economy until we decide to let them have their money back. But it's So that's the other thing is that it's such a weird war. And if we've got that at our disposal, what does Russia have at their disposal? So can they shut down airlines out of Europe just to fuck with them and be like, hey, we're not going to fuck with you anymore. We're going to bring all of the systems down. How are you going to get things up in the air? And then how much chaos is that going to do? And then we'll turn it back on and just be like, this is what we can do. So want to talk, want to battle, want to dance. Who knows what World War III looks like?
I bet it's got a bunch of memes somehow. It's going to be annoying.
I mean, it is. It is. It actually is. That's how Trump got into office. Right. That's how he's excusing his invasion. That we have a neo-Nazi president in Ukraine, and he's trying to spread Nazism across Europe again. We're protecting the world.
Yeah, I remember when I learned about misinformation, it was when there was a meme going around where you played Jesus and you had to arm wrestle Hillary Clinton by pressing the keypad. And of course, you know, you can beat her. And then you leave just knowing Jesus doesn't like Hillary Clinton. And that's stuck in your head and there's nothing you can do about it. And then I'm like, wait a second, you know. Well, anything else you learned in the last 24 hours or so with your research?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. I've also just been watching the live feeds, which I feel pretty macabre about.
The what? Sorry, like live feeds.
The live feeds. They've got cameras all over, like the disputed places, and you know, what are you doing? You're waiting on something to happen, and every once in a while, you see, you know, some sort of drama, and I don't know. Somehow, it makes it feel a little bit. I guess what I'm saying is that I'm learning a truthfulness of it, not a dramatized version of it, a mundaneness. Like guys, for instance, I saw a reporter was like, you know, doing the live feed, and then all of a sudden the soldiers that he was with started shooting, and then he pulls behind something, and there's and you see bullets flying off of walls and stuff, and then like a dude's a family's car. The daughter had fucking Uggs on, you know what I mean? And a pink hoodie. And she's grabbing her purse and her backpack out of her car and like running over by the journalist to take cover. And it's like, you were just picking up bread. Right. And I know that this is the way war looks everywhere. But why does it feel different? Because they look like me, because their cars look like me, because the cities look like me. It does hit home. And I implore people to watch, like get involved and see what's happening because you're responsible for it.
Oh, now I did it. The fuck happened? I knew not to ask what he learned. Damn it.
What did you learn, Keith?
I learned the things we went over. Let's see. I learned that I destroyed in silent trailers. I learned that we got to go on with our lives for now and have athletic greens. If you like green more than purple, you'll especially love it. I learned about racist flags that supposedly aren't racist. I learned that, of course, nobody wants war. Nothing about it would be fun in any way or exciting or stimulating to anybody. That's a fact. What else did I learn? Try to I hope these presidents study risk again, the game. Let's see, what else did we learn? We learned you say Ukraine, not the Ukraine. That's offensive. The View, I can watch it again, looking at it at a certain angle. So that's exciting. I learned that the president of Ukraine is a comedian and he can play the piano with his penis. I know that I'm going to look it up and it's going to be not as exciting. I do know that. So I'm never looking it up. I don't want to know the full fucking story. Believe me, the guy played with his penis. That's all I need to know. That's fantastic. I learned I knew this one earlier though, but you know, if somebody's recording, don't piss on people and say you're pissing on the Obamas. That'll come back to haunt you and you're going to be their bitch forever. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what I learned. Let me mention this then. That's good timing. Third love. I'm talking about bras. Now you're like, weren't we just talking about war? But like we said, you got to go on with your life in the meantime. I don't know. I don't want somebody just, hey, there's a war going on, so I'm going to keep punching your dick. Well, no, I want to be comfortable. So get a bra that's comfortable. Finally, a bra that's comfortable because they know how to do all these different sizes. Nobody apparently knew how to find sizes in between sizes. They're like, what if we do 1% of the size? Oh, it changed the fucking game somehow. But here we are. Third Love bras. I think if the favorite part of your day is at the end when you take your bra off and it's relaxing because it's so uncomfortable, you won't be able to do that anymore. That's the bad thing about Third Love bras. The good thing about Third Love bras is you're comfortable all fucking day. All right? Thank you. They're also the largest donor of undergarments in the U.S. They partner with organizations across the U.S. They have donated over 40 million worth of bras to help people in need. And I don't think that's funny to say. Some of you people are in need. I'm looking. That ain't right. You see some of these bras that it looks like, I think you need another bra now on your back based on what you did. Look, feeling is believing, okay? Upgrade to everyday pieces that love your body as much as you do. Right now, you can get 20% off your first order at thirdlove.com/KATG. That's 20% off at third, THIRD, thirdlove.com/KATG.
The back bra would really be a new era of passion.
We shouldn't have to have it, though. How about a bra? The bras are making other bras. It's like the bras are working with other bra companies to make you need more bras. Some of these people need 5 bras because they started with one bad bra. You don't have the money anymore. Follow the money.
Perspective. Oh my goodness.
Big bra, big bra industry.
That's why I'm a fan. Thirdlove.com/KATG. Did you see that Louis C.K.? I'm not joking. Louis C.K. has stand-up shows in Kyiv this weekend.
Whoa.
How?
At the National Palace of Arts. The Louis C.K. show in Kyiv has not been canceled, tweeted a fan. The trending post was accompanied by a graphic reading, "Dear attendees, Louis C.K. performance will take place as planned on February 25th and 26th, 2022. Tickets for Louis C.K. show purchased earlier remain valid for new dates and do not require an exchange."
What? When we say go on with your life, I don't know that we mean every single person.
No kidding.
But also,
wow.
Why not?
Because it
martial
I'll
laws.
Tell you why not. Because it doesn't sound like I'm getting a refund. I'm not going.
Well, most people are trying to get out.
Or do people think it'd be exciting? Bombs going off and hearing jokes inside. Just asking.
if you are there, right? If you are there and you're stuck in Kyiv,
anyway,
it's martial law. Why not?
Huddle into a show together.
If Putin knows what theater that is. He knows exactly. It's not if he were to bomb a comedy show with an American, he would just never. That would be such bad press. So, I think that it probably would be the safest place in Kyiv to be that night.
That would be the line. You don't fuck with comedy.
Check your logic.
You don't fuck with the new Aristotles.
I actually really think that it would probably be safe to go. That's my initial reaction. If I were in Kyiv, I would go to it. And I'm not even a Louis C.K. fan.
What? It's also a pandemic. There's so many. Come on. What are you hoping he takes his dick out and plays a piano? What the fuck?
Because I've done that. I guarantee he jokes, "Oh, when the president does that, he's a hit.
Yeah.
When I do it," everybody
I swear to God, I was wondering if the pandemic thing affects warfare at all, because I was seeing warriors with the masks on and stuff, and I'm like, can you imagine you've got a fucking machine gun up and you're like, can you give me 2 feet? You know what I mean?
Attach your bayonets. Bayonets.
No. This is a pandemic.
Let's see. Tickethunt.com is selling tickets to the Louis C.K. show now at a 30% discount. So you also save money.
You think? It should be free. A boss move would be just make it fucking free, Louis C.K. Come on. Just anybody who's in the city, walk over here. We're going to laugh and forget about a war for a moment. And that will actually, I'll be a fan of Louis C.K.'s action on that night for the rest of my life.
That, Louis?
Well, I mean, isn't that pretty amazing? Isn't that pretty amazing?
Yeah. Yes.
Here's another reason I wouldn't. I don't think so. I think it's just like, who gives a fuck? It's newsworthy. I'm going to do it. I think it's an asshole thing to do.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I wouldn't do it.
Trickery abound. You won't get me, Louis C.K.
I'm not doing it. Also, okay, keep this in mind. So you at least have all the facts. The venue security team will make audience members put their phones in lock boxes so they don't leak any sensitive material. There's a war and you get my phone and then I'll collect it in a line after. No. Enjoy the show, Craig. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, I should have waited.
Oh, that's your line, Craig? Excellent.
This guy was up for a Pulitzer yesterday.
I don't know if you guys remember The Simpsons when he made up a drink and then that bar became really popular. But then there's a part where what's his face? He goes, "You just lost yourself a customer." And Mo's like, "What? You just lost yourself a customer. What? You just lost." That's Craig. I'm not coming to your show, Louis C.K.
You're not a hero anymore, buddy. You're making people bag their phones.
Right. It's private what I'm telling you. I'm seeing that. Speaking of sex predators, turns out, surprise, surprise, Jerry Lewis was sexually assaulting any woman on the set of his movies. Oh my god! Let me tell you guys something. There's a little. Just take it for what it is. I never liked Bill Cosby's stand-up. I never liked Louis' TV show, and I never found Jerry Lewis funny in any way. Look into the things I hate, and then look into those people. I'm on to something. I'm not saying it holds up in court. I'm just saying it's of note. You can disagree and say, well, I love Louis' show. Okay. I'm just saying I didn't. And look what happened.
Oh, boy, Craig, we're lucky he still likes us, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. It is very Trumpian. You know, it all roads lead back to Keith, right? Like, sure. Jerry Lewis, rapist. I could have told you that. I knew something was up.
Something was up. Something was not rubbing me the right way. No pun. All right. Big news. March 7th will mark the 17-year anniversary of Keith and the Girl.
Oh, my God.
So I hope we make it to then. Wow. We'll be recording and releasing a show that day. We'd love to hear your Keith and the Girl stories. So send them to us at info@keithandthegirl.com. We want to hear, for example, when did you start listening? What was it like to come to a live event? Did you ever cry during an episode? Send some fun things to info@keithandthegirl.com. Now, like we said, Chemda has one more week in Spain, and she comes back to old boring New York, okay? Join OMAT today for her final week. Meet us on Monday, keithandthegirl.com/OMAT, OMAT. You'll see what I'm talking about. You'll say, by the way, take a peek during the meditation segment, and you'll see that nothing's coming in my head. I'm a fucking pro at that shit. Nothing's coming in. Nothing's going out. I don't know how people struggle at this. You just, goodbye, brain. Done. Anyway, stop waiting. You're going to love OMAT. I promise you'll be into it. Okay. Craig, thank you so much for your time. Anything the audience should know? Of course, you're a Diamond Dog. We'll be recording those shows in your VIP. Anything else to tell the folks at home?
Come to the best party on the planet on Wednesdays at KATG chat.
It's a lot of fun. Me and Craig yell at each other. We play some poker, but you don't have to play poker. You could just yap. A lot of excitement and always fun. What a fun group of people. Group of people. I've had more losers at a house party that I had. You know, there's nobody there I don't like.
I cancel plans with real people to come to that party and hang out.
Right.
Oh, Craig, you sure know how to give a compliment. With real people.
Well, I mean, people that I can touch, people that are,
Right. If I don't know what you're wearing on your bottoms, are you a real person? Well, anyway, I have fun with these AIs, and I think you will too.
I totally get why people would be nervous, but you can leave your camera off, your sound off. Some people are just there to listen. I know some people have been there a bunch of times where their camera's off the entire time. Sometimes people turn on a camera and they're just working, but they just want to listen to the chatter. So really is your experience. It's Wednesday night. It's free. I don't know if we mentioned that. It sounds like we're selling something. We're not. We really have a good time. KeithandTheGirl.com/chat. People start coming in there at 8 p.m. Eastern. And really, this has been our hang every week since 2020, when the pandemic started, to, break up the week, to keep us a little sane, to connect us with other people. And we've had an incredible time there. So if you're around, you just have to log on, keepingthegirl.com/chat Wednesday night.
There you go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Craig. Let's go suck off some people.
Peace.
From the planets. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah, not war. Not three fingers, 2 fingers.
Peace.
Peace.